What's going on, everybody? It's Nitty, and Military Monday is back. I apologize, and I thank everybody for hanging in there that's hung in there. I see I've lost a few people over the last couple weeks, actually quite a few people. But for all those that have hung in there and were waiting for Military Monday to come back, it is officially back starting this Monday and will be every Monday until I run out of stuff to talk about, and that could be years from now. Plus, we can always get into new military news, among many other things. It seems to be an interesting topic among many people. So what I wanted to do was kind of revamp this and restart over for all the new subs out there, for all the because it's been so long since I put a topic out there, and kind of revamp it as well in the fact that I wanted to start fitting the gameplay to the comm instead of the comm to the gameplay, because I didn't get a lot of information even into the ones I did before. So we're going to start over, and this is episode 1. This is going to be some enlistment and you, and what you're going to be looking for, and how I can at least try to steer you in a direction of not getting screwed. And there's a lot of ways you can get screwed going in. Trust me, I've seen it. Many times I've seen kids get boned really bad, and it's just not a fair shake because they didn't know what they were getting into. So if I can help some people out, hey, all the better. So what you're going to want to do, okay, you got this mindset that you want to go into the military, and you got to kind of pick a branch. Now, some of you guys may have some deep family roots, say, to the Marine Corps or the Army or Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard. One of, your uncle or your grandpa or your father, you may have a whole family that's in a certain branch, and you're going to be set on pretty much that branch no matter what. But for those of you that don't, what you're going to want to do is check all your options, because there's a lot of options out there. And you're going to take an ASVAB test pretty much probably in high school at some point. They have everybody take it if you want to, or you have the option of just saying, you know what, screw it, I don't want to take it, but you can take it later on. And once you take your ASVAB, you're going to get a score. And the higher you score, the better jobs you can get. You can get into intelligence. I scored high enough where I was going to go in to program missile guiding systems. Unfortunately, I took the dumb route and went to machine gunner for whatever reason, and there's not a whole lot of work outside of the military for a machine gunner, and this is what we're getting into. So you want to take all your branches and kind of figure out your options once you get your ASVAB score and see what's going to best fit you, and always go in with a mindset of picking an MOS that's going to net you a job outside of the military. Like I said, I went in as a machine gunner. Now, there's not a whole lot of mercenary work being, recruited for, among many other things. So once I got out, there's pretty much no job for me. I got to go to school. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Whereas if you go in for like a plane mechanic, programming missile guiding systems, so on and so forth, there's a plethora of options out there for you between NASA, working at an airport, making some big money doing a lot of different things that you learned in the military. So always go in the mindset, like I said, I cannot reinforce this enough, that you want to go in under an MOS that you can find a job for afterwards, because it's going to make your life so much easier and not be a complete waste of those 4, 8, 12, 20 years you may spend in, even more. You don't want it to be a complete waste. You may make it a lifetime and retire and then be done with it, so it won't necessarily be a complete waste. But that's something you gotta go in a mindset with. If I get out in 4 years, what am I gonna do? If I get out in 8 years, what am I gonna do? And that's what you want to pick. So make sure you check all your options. Another thing is, once you figure out some options, you may want to go to a local reserve unit and talk to some of the guys there. Talk to some of the former members. Talk to some of the people they're in. Disregard what your recruiter's telling you and go actually talk to some people that are in the military, because the recruiters are not your friends. They're going to act like they're your friends. They'll take you to lunch. They'll take you to dinner. They'll take you out partying. They'll come over. They'll be your best buddies. They'll stretch the truth out as far as they possibly can without necessarily lying. And some of them will just go down in the dirt and lie until they just lie until their head explodes, just to get you in. They got a quota they're supposed to fill. You're part of that quota, and in order to get you to sign on that dotted line multiple times, they'll do what they want. And then they'll send you off to boot camp, and then when you're in boot camp, they're going to be home banging your girlfriend. So like I said, they're not your friends. Don't even think that they're your friends. Even if it's a buddy you grew up with, there's a possibility you're going to get screwed. So disregard to a point what they say and go talk to some former military members, whether it's maybe possible family members that have been in different branches, or like I said, go to the local reserve units, or even if you have to drive a couple hours to get to a reserve unit, go talk to them guys, see what they say, see what they think, get some of their experiences before you make that jump. Now, once you've made your decision, what branch you're going to go into, there's a couple things you're going to want to think about. And that's pretty much, we'll start at the basics, going enlisted or going in reserves. Now when you go enlisted, you're pretty much going to have a basic contract. It's going to be 4 years. And if you go reserved, you're going to have a couple options for reserve enlistment depending on the branch. Now, I don't know, if I remember right, I had an option for the Navy to do a 2-and-2 contract. It's a 4-year contract. You do 2 years where you have to go to the reserve center every month on a weekend, and then 2 weeks in the summer, 2 weeks in the winter, or what have you. And then you have 2 years where you don't have to show up, but you have the possibility of being called back and being sent overseas. Now, I'm not exactly sure if that's still the case, but that rings a bell. And when I went in the Marines, I had an options of a 4-and-4 or a 6-and-2. Either way, what that is 4 years where you have to go to the reserve center, 4 years where you don't. But at the time, that didn't net a GI Bill for me, so that's something you got to watch out for. In order to get the GI Bill, I had to go a 6-and-2 contract where I had to show up to the reserve center for 6 years, and then I would be able to be called back for 2 years. That was my option for the reserves in order to get the GI Bill. And then I also had the option to go enlisted for 4 years. Now another thing you're going to want to take into consideration is the benefits of each, and this is the most important part. Now, for example, if you go in the reserves and you take the 6-and-2 option to get the GI Bill, your GI Bill isn't the same as the enlisted GI Bill. Whether they want to tell you that, whether they want to make it out like that or not, it's not. Period. What you're going to get in the reserves is I think it's up to like $280 or a little over $300 a month right now, or at least it was when I was in. That was my option. You get the reserve GI Bill was like $300 and something a month while you were going to school. However, if you go enlisted for 4 years, you get the full GI Bill, which is up over $1,200 a month right now, which pretty much will cover your tuition, your books. You're going to be able to go get an apartment. You can live off of $1,200 a month and still go to school. You can't live off of $300 a month and still go to school and not worry about anything else. You're going to have to get a job on the outside, among many other things. So that's one option you're going to really want to take into consideration. Another one is veteran benefits. Now in the reserves, unless you get called up overseas or you go active duty for an extended period of time, which would pretty much be getting called to go to war, you're not going to get any types of veteran benefits in the end. You're not going to get your veterans points on taking a civil service exam like your buddy that went in for 4 years, and you're pretty much going to be in longer. So that's another thing to really take into consideration is once you get out and you may want to get into a civil service job, you're not going to get those points while you're in the reserves. Now the reserves, they're great. You can use that as kind of like a stepping stone to get into police work, corrections officers work, but you can do that same thing with the enlisted, plus get the benefits, plus get the points, and a bigger GI Bill among many other things. So it's something you're really going to want to sit down and weigh as you go. Enlisted or reserves. Make sure you check into all the options. I'm sure a ton of them have changed since I've been in, but make sure you weigh those out because those are huge. And then once you get in, and once you pick whether you're going to go enlisted or reserves, make sure you're looking every time you sign a dotted line. Take the time to read it. They can't tell you can't have the time to read it, and they'll tell you need to sign this right now. Take the time to take it home and read it, because what happened with quite a few kids I was in boot camp with ended up getting screwed into an open contract. And what an open contract means is when you get to boot camp and you go through boot camp about 3/4 of the way, then you're going to find out your MOS. And I'm telling you, all those kids got crapped on. Not a single one of them got a decent MOS. They all went in pretty much infantry or worse. And yes, there is worse. So make sure you never, ever, ever, ever go in on an open contract. Make sure you know what your MOS is. And say if you go up to the Marines and you're dead set on being the Marines and the only option they have is an open contract, tell them you want to check out something else and start playing your start turning your mind towards a different branch, or tell them when you get an MOS that I can sign on that's not open contract, give me a call. Until then, don't do it. I'm telling you, you're going to get crapped on, and your next 4 years, 6 years, 8 years is going to be something that you're not going to be looking forward to. I can guarantee you that. Also, don't play too much into the fact where they're like, well, you can go in on this, and then in 2 years you can switch your MOS. It doesn't work like that. There's a lot of steps you got to go through. There's a lot of people that got to sign off on it, and 99.9% of the time, unless you're a top-notch, balls to the wall, perfect Marine, soldier, naval guy, you're not going to get that option to switch MOSs, and you may not get it even if you're on the top notch. It's just the way it works. So please, never go in on an open contract. Check your sources, and like I said, make sure recruiters are not your friends. Take it with a grain of salt. I remember him telling me that going in as a machine gunner was like going off hunting for a weekend with your buddies. Trust me, it's not the same. A shotgun weighs about 8 pounds. Machine gun fully loaded with ammo, with all my gear on, I'm carrying about another body on my back pretty much. It's not the same. It's not even close. So like I said, they stretch the truth among many other things. They are not your friends. They are not your friends. They are not your friends. And that is... I cannot drive that point home as much as possible. Like I said, check your options, check your contracts, check your benefits, and that's about it. And once you get all signed up and you're ready to go, we're going to play in our next little episode is what you're going to be looking forward to coming to Marine Corps boot camp, because I don't know much about anything as far as the other branches. What you're going to be looking for physically and mentally, among many other things. It's going to be a much longer comm than what this one is right now. So I hope that helped you guys out. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, put a comment in the below. If you don't feel comfortable asking a question, you think something may be dumb, there is never a dumb question when it comes to enlisting in the military. Send me a PM. I'll be more than happy to take the PMs, more than happy to respond to you guys. And I hope this helps you out. This is the revamp of Military Monday, and once we get through all the steps of enlisting, boot camp, some bases that you may go to and see. We're going to get into some of my experiences, injuries, and all the places that I've been able to go to with the military and some of the things I've done. And it's going to get interesting between the guns, the other weapons, vehicles, among many other things. So as always, guys, keep your heads up. Have a great day. Peace. What's going on, everybody? It's a Nitty, and I just wanted to let you guys know I provided a bunch of quick links for all my playlists. I'm going to be updating as we go, adding more games, and all that other good stuff. Also, check me out over on Justin TV for my live streams and Twitter.com to keep you guys updated on what's going on. And head on over to the VidThru and VSO Gamers page to find a variety of videos from a variety of directors ranging throughout all the genres. I'm sure there's going to be something over there you guys enjoy. So as always, keep your heads up. Have a great day. Peace.